What is up, everybody? In today's video, I'm gonna walk you through my life story of how I became Coach Riles and a personal trainer and online fitness coach, and how I kind of developed my system and how I really found my voice when it comes to fitness and my passion for fitness and my knowledge that I have, and kind of just how I've got to where I am today. And I'm gonna break down kind of A to Z where I started, how I developed, where I'm at, some of the struggles I went through, and how I've got to the point where I am now, right? I'm Riley Watkins, I'm an online fitness coach, and I help career-driven guys lose 20, 50 pounds, then 180 days with my CEO Shred system. So it's, 60 minutes a week without actually having to go on a diet while still eating food you actually like how to make fitness a real lifestyle that you can actually turn into something you can do every single day forever for career-driven guys, so they can actually have impact for themselves, their family, their future, and be the person they want to be just all around, right? And actually have that ripple effect inside their life, okay? So that's kind of what I do, who I help, my program, and I want to talk about, my story of how I've got to where I'm at. So that's what I'm going to do in today's video. So, yep, like I said, I'm Riley Watkins. I am an online fitness coach, and I was born in Morgantown, West Virginia. So I'm from West Virginia. I'm currently here right now. And I was born, my dad is a doctor, so he's an anesthesiologist, and I was born in Morgantown, West Virginia. And I was born kind of like on Cheat Lake, so I don't even know where Cheat Lake's from. I was born there, and I was there from the moment I was born until about 3rd grade. So I lived there, I went to preschool there, and actually it was crazy, funny thing about my life is I've moved around a lot. So when I was in preschool, I actually repeated preschool. So I was always a little bit older because when I was young, when I was actually born, I have a twin brother. So I have a twin brother, a little sister, a little brother, and my dad's a doctor, my mom was a nurse, but she became a stay-at-home mom when me and my twin brother were born. So I have a twin brother, and we had a ton of complications because we were twins. My brother's lung collapsed. I was super, super small, and I was always so small growing up. And in preschool, because I was so small, and just because we had some complications and I had, some learning issues, I repeated preschool. So I repeated preschool, so I was always a year older, which actually ended up paying off down the road because I was always, able to have athletic success because of that. So I was always like an older of the group there. But yeah, from preschool to about, I was in preschool, and then I went to a private school for kindergarten, and then in 2nd grade and 1st and 2nd grade, I went to that same school, and then in 3rd grade, we decided to move, okay? So what we did is we moved to Wheeling, West Virginia. My dad's a doctor, he got a better job offer, so we went ahead and moved to Wheeling, and this is kind of where my fitness journey started to pick up, right? So it's when I was in Morgantown, I was always like a super athletic kid. I always loved running around. I was always like the fastest kid ever. And I remember when I moved back to Wheeling, we got homeschooled the first year. So I had no friends, and I was just being homeschooled, and I just played a lot of video games. So I just played a ton of video games, and I got really overweight because of that. And I remember the next year, we went to school in 4th grade. We went to public school. It was the first time I was in public school. So there's a bunch of new kids I didn't know, and I'd never really been with that many kids before. And I remember I was super, I really didn't like it the first year because I didn't have any friends, and I didn't really know. And all I did was really play video games, and I didn't really have anybody to talk to. And I remember I was like, I want friends. I want to be popular. I want to have a lot of friends, and I want to be the fast, cool kid again. So I decided that I wanted to play football, and I was like, I want to go play football and try out for a football team, and that's going to help me make friends. So what I did, when I played football, was I went and tried out for the football team, and I was like, I'm going to be the running back. I'm going to be the best, right? And they actually ended up putting me at center. So they put me at center my first time playing, and it really pissed me off because I was like, I was going to be the running back. All my friends were going to like me. I was going to be the popular kid who got to score touchdowns, and they put me at center, and I was like, it was not because I was just the best center. I was just fat. And it really upset me a lot. And I remember I went home to my mom that night and I cried. I was like I want to play running back, I want to play football. And my mom actually was the person who got me into fitness. And what she did was when I came to her and I was upset about that, she was like, you don't have to just be upset about it. You can actually do something about this. And what she did was she's like, why don't you work out, right? If you want to be good, it's not just going to come to you. You have to do something about it. And, she gave me her Shaun T T25 workout CDs. And these are, I don't know if you know Shaun T, but Shaun T is an online fitness trainer guy with Beachbody. everybody that's like the 90s P90X, he's one of those guys. And she had these DVDs and she gave them to me, and I was like, wow, like working out. And she was like, okay, like if you want to get in shape and be the best, like, okay, I'll see you at 5. She got up every day, like before our school, and would work out. She's like, I'll see you in the morning. I'll get you up. I was like, get me up in the morning. And she got me up at 5 a.m. I was in 3rd grade. The next day she got me up, and I worked out for the first time in my life. It was my first like workout. And I was like, okay. And I got up, and and here's the thing, the funny thing too, like I was so young, it was just like, this is what I do. Like mom was like, okay, you're getting up and you're doing the workout. And I was getting up at 3rd grade, and I was getting up in the morning and doing, my 25-minute, body weight online workout on the TV. And I would do that, and I literally just did that every single day, right? I did it every single day until like the next year, and I lost all my weight. Like I became skinny again, fast again. And next year, same football, this was like flag football, I got to play running back. So it was like the first time in my life that like fitness allowed me, right? And I played running back. I got to run the ball, score touchdowns, and I became like the best player on the team, and everyone liked me, and everyone was like, oh, like, and it was the first time in my life that like I went from being kind of a loser who didn't have any friends. Because of fitness, I was now exactly what I wanted, I got. Because of fitness. I wanted to be the popular kid with lots of friends, and I wanted to run the ball and score touchdowns, and everyone liked me. And because of fitness and my own effort, that's what I did. And I was like, whoa. And I completely fell in love with this since that day, because it represents so much about life. It's like you want a goal, and you work at the goal, and you get the goal. And it was the first time in my life, because of what I did. I got what I wanted because I did the work. And after that year, I transitioned that passion for fitness, because I was like, wow, because of fitness, I got this athletic success, and I got this amazing athletic success, and I got to be the best. But yeah, anyway, because of my athletic success, I became exactly who I wanted to be because of it, and it was like insane. And from there, when I was in 5th grade now, because this was like flag football, I was at a different school. So I talked about how I moved around a lot. In preschool, I was at a different school. In kindergarten, I was in a different school for like a year or two. And then I was homeschooled, and then I went to public school. And then in 5th grade, I went to a private school. And at the private school, I met a guy named Trey. And Trey played baseball, and he was pretty well off. And he went to these strength and conditioning workouts with this guy. And he just said, I just go to workouts. And I was like, what do you mean you go to, and we were like in 5th grade. So I was like, what do you mean? Like, cause I'd been doing my online Shaun T workouts at this point. And he's like, no, I go to these workouts with this guy. And I was like, what do you mean like with this guy? He's like, no, I go to this place, and this guy, shows me what to do with my workouts, and he coaches me. And I was like, that's a thing? Like I didn't know personal training. I was like, that's a thing? And I went home that day. I was like, I kept telling him every day at school, I was like, what's the name? Like, who is this guy? He's like, oh, it's my parents. I was like, okay. Came back to school next day. I was like, who's this guy? He's like, oh, I forgot to ask. I was like, give me the freaking name. I want to go. And he came back and he told me, he was like, it was Piles Elite. And I was like, oh, got it. And I went home that night. I was like, mom, I want to go work out. I want to go to this workout place. I want to go to Piles Elite. And I remember it was like on a Saturday. And I came home on a Saturday because it was like Friday. And, the next day, that night, I just like went home in the morning. I woke up, I was like, oh, workouts. And I remember I told mom, because I remember it was a Saturday. And I went to my mom, I was like, I want to go. And I remember I was like, okay, she's like, look up the place, call. I was like, okay. And I would look up the place, and we call the trainer, and the trainer picks up the phone. He's like, hello? I was like, hey, I was like this young kid. I was like, hey, I want to come work out. And he's like, what? I was like, I'm in this grade, and I want to come to work out. I know Trey, and I want to work out. And he's like, okay, come in at 5 p.m. And I was like, oh, today? And I was like, he said, yeah. So I came in at 5 p.m. and I did like an evaluation, like an eval period, and I signed up that day. And then literally from that day, I started working out. And one of the cool things I remember is the crazy part about like me being a coach is I worked with this coach from 5th grade to freshman year in college. Like I worked with this guy for like 11 years. So this, like when I say to me, like invest in a coach, get a coach, I paid a coach for, like even though it was my parents, I worked with a coach for 11 years. I never worked out on my own until I was in like high school, middle school, right? And I'd worked with a coach for 8 years at that point. And the crazy thing is going to this guy really taught me about like what it means to be like really good, because I was like, I'm just doing my own workouts. But I remember I going to this gym and there was like NFL guys, there was college athletes, and I remember like I just loved it, like working out. I literally remember, the crazy part is the first time like I really went hard in a workout, because I remember I was doing like speed ladder and I was just like doing it. And I remember like Josh came by, he was like, come on man, like let's go. And I remember I was like, you know what, like let's go. And I went as hard as I could, and he was like, nice work, Riley. And I was like, oh, like okay, like I have to go as hard as I can go if I want to be the best, because I was looking at the NFL guys and they were going really hard, and I was like, I have to be better than them, right? And I was like, this is like where my real drive was built, at this place. And you know, in strength and conditioning, in the gym, in fitness, in sports, is where I really got my drive from. And you know, from there, 5th grade, worked with Josh as a strength conditioning coach, and this transitioned into middle school now. So here's the cool part. So I moved to Wheeling in 3rd grade. It was fat kid, loser, no friends. 4th grade, I decided I wanted to play football, public school, I want to make friends. Played football, got in amazing shape with my Shanti DVD workouts, became the popular kid, running back, all that, went to a new school, private school, was the best athlete there all the time, and started working with a coach. Worked with that coach, went to middle school now, so back to public school. So back with all the kids, back with all the same kids that I knew from public school, that I was like the fat loser. And I went back and I started playing football in 6th grade. I wanted to try out football. And this was the crazy thing, is I had played a year, so my 6th grade year, I came back, went to public school, and it was the first year of tackle football for me. So I didn't play tackle until 6th grade, and I came out to play tackle football, and I was one of the best players on the team. And I remember I was like a really, really good like defensive back, receiver, and I was one of the best players on the team. And because of all that work I had done with the coach and on my own, I became like one of the most popular kids in 6th grade. I was super popular. I was friends with everybody. I don't like say that to boast. I had lots of friends. I knew everyone from football, and I was just like a good athlete, and started to like get into girls and stuff. And it was pretty cool because it was just because of the work I was doing in the gym and in the strength and conditioning, like, and just really just being my best. Like every time I would just keep going, and I would be good at football. Like it would just reward me so much because of that. And I loved it. I literally just loved it, because I was getting everything I wanted, going from literally being the loser with no friends. And because of the work I was doing in the gym, I became the popular kid who had girls who liked him. It was scoring all touchdowns that everyone liked me. And it was just like, I just fell in love with it because of, you know, the way I could perform. Like it just was amazing to be able to do that. And it was like, I loved it. And in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, you know, I grinded. I would grind. I went to these workouts. I was getting up before school and running. You know what I mean? I'd been getting up. I mean, at this point, I'd been getting up since 3rd grade before school and working out. And then after school, I'm going to strength conditioning. So like, it was all day. It's all I did. I literally was like, all I did was football, strength conditioning, workouts, football. Like, it's all I did. And I was straight A students too. So like, you know, the same, like I was always a good student because my dad is like a, you know, doctor or whatever. But I always had, you know, I mean, going from like, I was a straight A student. I was working out all the time, doing my homework. Like I was just on it, and girls liked me, and I was just like, you know, be able to just, because of the work I was doing, just being the best, like I got all this positive feedback. And here's the cool thing about this is I was actually, because of all this, I actually became like kind of bad for a while. Like when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, and this is why I went to a Catholic school for high school. So I would transition into high school. I was like rolling with some bad kids. Like we were going in like partying, drinking, and smoking weed, like in middle school, right? And I was hanging out with girls at night, bringing girls over the house. Like I was bad in middle school. But here's the thing: I never got off track. Like I never was off track, right? Like my parents just saw that, and they're like, once you get to high school, it's gonna get 1,000 times worse. So they decided, and this was the best decision they ever done for me, they decided to send me to Catholic school for high school. So they sent me to Wheeling Central Catholic High School in Wheeling, West Virginia for high school. And at this point, I had been working out forever. So in 8th grade, I was like probably the best player in the whole area for middle school football. Like the high school was like wanted me so bad, and I was like going to be, you know, the next best player at the high school. And the crazy part, what happened was I actually, went to a workout with Wheeling Central. My parents decided they were going to send me to Central, and the coaches at the public high school called my Wheeling Central coaches, and they tried to get this program of the school shut down because they poached me. And they're like, "You've recruited in." They tried to get the whole program shut down. That's they were pissed. But I went to Central, and what happened there was Central was the best thing that ever happened to me, because not only did it give me, the right coaches and the right mentality when it came to leadership and working for the right reasons when it comes to fitness and athletics and just trying to be your best, but it actually introduced me to God as well. And if I wouldn't have gone to Catholic school, I never would have got baptized, and I loved it. And religion was my favorite class in high school. So when I went to high school, as a freshman, and they were really good. This was Wheeling Central. They're like, even though they're a small division, they're like the best. They're state champions, all that. So my freshman year, I started on varsity on a state championship high school football team. And that's like, to start as a freshman on that team was unheard of. So like I was a starter as a freshman on the state championship football team. And we won the state championship my freshman year, and it was like, it was the best year of my life, right? And the crazy thing is like, I just remember like being the grit, hardworking guy. And actually the reason that I started, here's the crazy part. I'm 5'6". I was 5'6", 150, and I played fullback. I played defensive back. Fullback and safety, but I played fullback, and I started because nobody else wanted to block. Nobody else could block, and I just would literally go out there and just rip people's faces off when it comes to the block. And you probably look me up on Huddle, Riley Watkins Wheeling Central Huddle, and you could find my highlights, and it's just a bunch of boomsticks, and I'm like 5'6", I just blow people up, and just like boom, and I would just like reckless abandon, smash people's heads in, and that was how I started. And it was just like even more like after that season, I'm like, think about this, right? I went from the loser with no friends to starting on varsity as a state champion as a freshman. Like, and all that was me, right? That was all me, right? Like because of me working and grinding my ass off, I did that, and I doubled down, right? That next year, that was the most I ever lifted. Like I actually started lifting on my own, because I had lifted with like a strength and conditioning coach, but I started lifting on my own that summer. And I put on like 20 pounds, right? From freshman year to sophomore, I put on like 20 pounds of muscle. I got huge. And this was like 14 to 15. So like I'm going through like, puberty and everything. And I started lifting like an animal. And I put on 20 pounds of muscle that summer, and came back to the field. And even though I was a little guy in freshman year, but I came back that summer, and everyone was like, holy shit, what happened to Riley? And I was already the hardest hitter like on the team, and I came back that sophomore season, and I went nuts, and that was one of my best years. So I went that year, my sophomore season, kept grinding in the gym, became an all-state honorable mention as a defensive back. So I started at safety that year. I didn't start on offense, but I was a big part of. Actually, no, I did start. I started as fullback on offense. I didn't get to carry the ball a lot though. And then defense, I started at safety, and I became an all-state safety. And then I was just starter for offense. So I started both sides. So I started three ways. As a sophomore. So I started offense, defense, special teams, and then became all-state that year. Next year, junior year, was my best year. So my junior season, I came out working even harder, right? I was like, wow, like, okay, now, like, and here at this point, I was like NFL, like I'm working out with the NFL guys, and one of the NFL guys is CJ Goodwin, was a huge motivation in my life. And I started, and this was a cool thing. So sophomore year, that summer, I went and played 7-on-7 football for PA Elite 7-on-7 football. And I remember I worked and did a tryout with that team, and I like blew everyone out of the water. I had a great tryout, made people fall. I was like, let's go. And I got on the team, and I remember with that team, we went to Las Vegas. And I remember I went to Las Vegas, and we became the number 3 team in the whole country at this tournament. We were playing against like the best players in the whole nation. So that whole summer, I was like seeing like Division I athletes and guys that are like NFL, going back to school, NFL, and I'm like grinding every single day on the field, doing workouts, grinding with all the team. And I'm just like, okay, at this point, I'm like hell bent on playing in the NFL. I'm like, I want to play in the NFL. So this was like my driving force, right? And I'll get to where this kind of trickled out in college, but my driving force was NFL. It's like, I want to play in the NFL, I want to play in the NFL. And I kept grinding, and I came back that junior year after having a whole summer of 7-on-7 football, grinding even more lifting, getting even bigger, coming back. I was benching like, almost 300 pounds at this point as a junior, and I come back and I'm 5'6", so I come back, I had all this experience running routes, catching footballs, playing all the 7-on-7, I play running back and safety. Came in junior year, had the best year freaking ever, right? Sophomore was COVID, so like sophomore year was COVID happened. We didn't get to go to the state championship, so I was pissed, right? Got knocked out of the playoffs because of COVID, and came back junior year, I wanted revenge, and we came back and we got all the way to the semifinals, and I got semifinals, and then we got beat down at Ritchie County, West Virginia. I'll never forget this. We got beat, and it is a crazy story. And I'm never one to complain, but it actually came out years later that they like had this like super shit like mud field, and they watered the mud field. Like they like had hoses, and that was like their own advantage. And they had this muddy field, and they just like played against us with the field. And because of like all the mud shit, they just knew how to play in it, I guess. And they beat us and they won, and we got knocked out. So we're supposed to win the state championship. And then the team they went and played, whooped their, they went on and, whooped their ass and won. So we would have won that year. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't know, boo-hoo me. But junior season, I was the defensive player of the year in West Virginia. So I was, three-way starter, all-state on both sides of the ball. So I was all-state for running back, and I was all-state. I was first-team all-state defense and second-team all-state running back, and I was the defensive player of the year for West Virginia. And that was like one of my best seasons. I had a breakout season. I started to get college letters. Like colleges were starting to invite me to them. So like I was going to like Dartmouth, Yale, Princeton, Columbia. I was going to a lot of the Ivy League schools. I went to Holy Cross. I went to the Division II schools around there. So it was like all like the East Coast side of stuff, and it was great. And I started to see all this success, and then girls, and I was still a straight A student. But here's the cool part. So my junior season, at the end of the year, I decided, because I had been at school for freshman, sophomore, and junior, and all throughout this time, I had been, loving religion class. And I'd never really been like a God guy. Like I'd always been kind of like, I guess God, but it was not necessarily like praying. It was more so for like the social media stuff, like Philippians 4:13, like how people post that shit. And I never really like understood or knew about it, but I was actually loved learning about religion in high school. So I learned about religion. I was learning about Jesus Christ and his mission, and how he was born again, and where he was born and then rose again and became God and rose and died for our sins. I learned about all this, and then about Jesus Christ and the story of his life. And I decided at the end of my junior year to give my life to Jesus Christ and get baptized as a Christian. And this was one of the most powerful things, and to this day, this is probably my proudest accomplishment, right? And for people that are not religious, I don't know how to describe to you the way that I felt after I got baptized. And for people that got baptized, you know what I'm talking about. When I got baptized, I kind of felt like I was a piece of shit to an extent, right? Like I was a great athlete and everything, but I almost felt sometimes to a certain extent like I wasn't the best, because I was like sort of a womanizer. I was a super popular kid. I was kind of an asshole to people sometimes. And I was, at this point, I just was like ultimate girl womanizer, this guy. And believe me, women are great. Like I enjoy beautiful women. But when I got baptized, it was crazy, because I felt like all the weight in the world was lifted off my shoulders, right? And for those of you who understand like going to church and like how you understand that, like, being baptized was really, really impactful for me, because it was like I just felt like I had just a higher purpose to serve at that point. And I started going to church, and I really fell in love with understanding the story of Jesus Christ and his mission of how he came here to save the world, right? How God gave his only son to save us from our sins, so we could go to heaven and rejoice amongst each other as Christians. And I love this story, and it caused me to get baptized. And this summer, you know, became very, very spiritual, very, very into my faith, and faith became a huge driver for me with NFL. I want to be the best for God. I want to be the best for myself. I want to get to the NFL. I just want to be the best, right? We came to school and everything, and came back to senior year. And senior year, had another great year, was all-state, both sides of the ball. Didn't get any player of the year this year. We ended up losing again in the semis. I was like, it could have been a 4-time state champion. Would have been a 7-peat for our school. So the freshman year, we'd actually 3-peated because the 2 years prior, they won. My freshman year, we were the 3-peat. We have 3 years in a row we were the state champs, and then since then they haven't won one. So it would have been a 7-peat with me if everything would have went according to plan. But boo-hoo me. But had another great senior year, and then I was doing so well. I had lots of school interests, lots of schools wanting me. No Division I offers, but this is how I became a Division I athlete. So this is cool. So I committed Division II Mercyhurst University in the PSAC. And I committed to Mercyhurst University after my senior year. And I went there, I spent the summer, and this was actually super cool. And I'll give you a little bit of insight into how I kind of got involved in business a little bit. So after my senior year, I committed to Mercyhurst, and I was done with recruiting at this point. And on the side, I started like kind of looking at like business stuff. I was like, what do I do? Like I started like making a bunch of posts and just trying to make like fitness content and stuff like that. And I remember I asked people if they wanted help like getting in shape. I was like, does anybody want like help with like becoming a better athlete? And I actually was crazy. Like I had a couple people actually pay me some money, like senior year of high school. To help them with fitness. I was like, whoa, like that was crazy. So, but here's the thing, I didn't like mess with it too much. And this was super cool. So in the time between committing and going to Mercyhurst, I started making like a free Discord channel. So like I had this Discord channel that I built. It took me like 6-7 months to make this huge Discord channel. It was like a low ticket, kind of like, you know, $20 a month type thing. And I remember that when I went to Mercyhurst, so I went in that summer, and this was kind of how I ended my high school year. So I committed Division I or Division II to Mercyhurst, and I went, and that summer I went to Europe. And this was like, I was almost like starting to promote my low ticket. So I started making content about fitness and making fitness content, but I went to Europe. And I remember we went to Italy and Germany. I had a friend from 7-on-7 football who lived in Germany. He was like a foreign exchange student, and I went to see him in Germany. And we also went down to Italy in Portofino. And this was super cool. This is actually my background is one of the yachts we saw there in Portofino. But I moved my screen, but in Portofino, we actually got to experience like wealth, right? And I remember that I was like talking about business and learning about business, and I got to see like real like billionaires and wealth and all this stuff, and I was like, wow, like there's a world outside of football. But to me, I was like NFL. And so I wasn't really going too hard on like the low ticket stuff, but I was messing around with it. And I remember going into Mercyhurst, and this is the cool, so I came back from Europe and we had an all-star game. So like all the best players of all my high school area, we had an all-star game. And in the all-star game, I was the MVP of the all-star game. I had the best game of my entire life, and we won the all-star game. So that was a cool way how in high school, and think about the timeline at this point. I go from the loser who played video games, who was fat and overweight, and because of fitness in the weight room and the gym, my own hard work, I became, committed to college to play football, best player of the year, 3-time all-state player, one of the best players in school history, 2-time team MVP, team captain of my team senior year, and I was the MVP of the all-star game. Literally the best player, it means basically the best player in high school and around my area. And all of that coming together and taking that same hard work, messing around with business a little bit, go to Mercyhurst that fall for fall camp with football. And I go there in the fall for fall camp, and I had a great time. I loved Mercyhurst. And during this time, because I was kind of a freshman, I was redshirted technically, but we had a bunch of injuries. So there's on when they would go and travel, right, I was still messing around with my business. So like it was at this time that I decided I wanted to start promoting my low ticket fitness, my $20 a month Discord. And I started promoting it, making videos. And when everyone would go travel to the games, I would be making, fitness content and trying to get people to sign up to my thing. I actually got a couple signups. So I got a couple people, and this was like, when I say like a low ticket, it was like athletes, powerlifting, bodybuilding. I was like, everyone and everybody, everything, everyone, everywhere, sign up to my fitness thing. And I was like, okay. And I got a couple people to sign up, and it was pretty cool. And I was like, it was my first experience of people like paying me. I'd set up a payment processor. I made a website. Like, I learned a couple skills there. And what happened was and this was cool. So I started making content about a VIP program. So it's like, if you want me to just like coach you one-on-one as opposed to like the Discord or whatever, I'll do it. And I started, promoting the one-on-one coaching. And I remember that somebody paid me, I think the price is like $500, and someone paid me $500 to help them. I was like, it was like, I'll coach you for, 4 months and it'll be a thing. And I was like, and I'll just help you get your goals. And he was like, okay, he paid me $500. And it was pretty crazy to me because and here's the thing, I had never had a job in high school. So like in high school, I never had because I'm blessed. I went to private school. My parents took care of me. I didn't have to get a job. They paid for me to get a coach. Like, I was very blessed in high school. And I also, I'll give some context as well. When I was in high school, I forgot to mention that I was also our team strength coach because we didn't have a strength coach at the time. And I was like, this shit sucks. I know enough about strength conditioning because I spent so much time with that strength coach that I had also been a strength coach. So I guess this is more context for you, that I had literally ran our team workouts for 3 years. Sophomore to senior year, I was team strength coach. So I ran all the workouts, and actually this was where I learned a lot about personal training and like helping people with fitness. And I remember I would get all my guys up and I'd work them a lot. And this was when I fell in love with strength coach, and I was going to go to college, study exercise science, to be a strength and conditioning coach. I was studying exercise science to be a strength coach. I was like, I'm going to be a college strength coach, and that's why. And I remember that I actually fell in love with coaching because I wanted my teammates to get better because I wanted to win, and I loved getting myself better, right? So because of the work that I was doing with myself and my teammates as a strength coach, I saw them get better, I saw me get better, and it was amazing because I could have knowledge in my brain and tell people to do this, and they would get better, and because of that, we were able to win games and I could be better. And I'll tell you something too about high school, how I developed a lot of, performance was I was the film guy. Like, I would memorize everybody's plays as a defensive player, and I would just memorize all the plays of the other team. Like, we would do scout, and I would just scout the other team and memorize all their plays. So for me, as a 5'6" white dude, I was not the fastest. I was always the strongest, but because I was in the weight room. But my advantages were my leadership and my ability to train my team to be better, but to coach my team, right? So if I knew the plays of the other team, I could just tell everyone what's happening, where the ball is going, I could just tell them. And being our team strength coach, I got a ton of freaking experience as a strength coach, as a leader, as a Christian. Like, I had so much experience as a leader on the team and helping and showing and coaching. So when I started promoting fitness stuff, that's why I got some signups, because everybody knew me as the fitness guy. Like, everybody knew me as like hard worker, strength and conditioning, always working out with everyone, strength coach, like animal when it comes to the film room. And that's how a lot of people knew me, because they knew how hard I worked at football. So, transition, fast forward a little bit to Mercier's. I know it's kind of crazy here, but I'm just like, bang, bang, bang. You're getting this is like me raw telling it to you. But after I got my first like client one-on-one, I started to think a little bit, and I was like, I talked to some of the guys on the football team, and I was like, honestly, if I spend because I started to question my NFL, because at this point I was like, NFL, and the first time somebody, hired me as their personal trainer, I was like, whoa, somebody would pay me money. I never had a job. Somebody would pay me, and I did math. I was like, for me to get this amount of money working at like Sheets or working at a gas station or something, I was like, I had to work, all summer to get this money. I was like, I got it in 30 seconds because somebody wanted me to help them. And I was like, whoa. So because of that, I remember I called the guy that I mentioned, CJ Goodwin, or it is Life Comes Forward. I called him, I called Josh. I remember I spoke with all these guys, and all these guys that helped me along my whole journey. And I was like, what do I do? Like, I want to be like I kind of want to do business. Like, and I remember what they kind of said. They were like, well, Riley, a lot of times NFL guys aren't in the NFL because they love it. They're in it because it's paying their bills. And a lot of times, like these NFL guys, if they weren't in the NFL, they'd probably be selling drugs somewhere. And that kind of hit me hard because I was like, that's true. They're like, Riley, if you put your level of work ethic, you work harder than these NFL guys. They're just better than you. Like, no matter how hard you work, you're not going to be Saquon Barkley, running back. You're not going to be like these insane running backs, because no matter how hard you work, they can work 50% as hard as you, but because they're genetics, because they're just going to get better results than you. So it's like, you take that some level of work ethic into business, into coaching, you're going to be the best of all time at whatever you do. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And I decided that I was not going to play football. I was going to go home, and I was like, I'm going to do this fitness thing. Like, I'm going to be a strength coach. I'm going to go to college for strength and conditioning, and I'm going to be the best athlete freaking coach. I'm going to start a huge gym, whatever it is. And I'm going to take me and my Discord server, and we're going to take over the world. And I moved back home, and I had a couple like random clients here and there. And I remember that I kind of failed with my business. So like, I failed with my Discord server, like nobody joined, I was pissed off. It taught me a valuable lesson. Like, unless you have a huge following, something cheap like that is not probably the best, because people want like one-on-one access. I had a couple random clients here and there, but nothing crazy, nothing major. And I remember I really got burnt out at this point, because this is the beauty of environment too, because before then I was always NFL, 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 and nobody ever really questioned me. And like, nobody questioned that, because I was like, I'm doing this, I'm helping NFL. And even though my parents like kind of didn't really believe in me, they never really like said you couldn't go to NFL. They just supported it. They sent me to Mercyhurst, all this, and I came home and I was like, I'm not playing football. I'm gonna be online. I'm gonna be a fitness guy. I want to do fitness. And then this was the first time that I ever questioned where I was in my life, because I didn't have football anymore. So without football, I always had that NFL, NFL, NFL. But with fitness, I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to get an exercise physiology degree and yeah, fitness stuff. And when my dad was like being a doctor, he's like, Riley, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to make any money with that. You're not going to do anything with that. And I was just like, no, like, and it started to question. I was like, whoa, like, wow. But here's, another lesson. Like, don't listen to somebody who's never done what you want to do. Like, come on, like, stop. But it really actually kind of got to me, because I no longer had football, and that was like, everyone loved me as an athlete. And now that I was just a regular student, I didn't really have a business. I was like making content here and there, but it was like just no success. And I remember that it really got to me, because I started really wanting like my parents' approval, and I wanted my dad's approval, and I wanted them to support what I wanted to do with my life, and they just didn't support the fitness thing. And I remember it really got to me. And after kind of my athlete type business kind of failed, I remember I was like, well, with regular fitness, you don't really need blah blah blah. I was just like, I don't want to do it, and I kind of got discouraged, and I quit. And I actually switched my major to exercise, not from exercise physiology to business. And I was like, I'm gonna go to law school. And I had a cousin who was in law school, and my dad and them had convinced me, you should be a lawyer, you should be law school, because it's like, it sounds cool. And I remember I switched my major to business. I was like, I'm gonna be a lawyer, finance, whatever the frick it is. And just, I liked it because it sounded like something my parents would be proud of. When I said lawyer, everyone's like, oh yeah, great, like yeah, we'd be a lawyer. And I was like, it got the validation that I was looking for, because for me, being this amazing, going from, being a loser to being this popular Division, here's how I became a Division I athlete. Mercyhurst, the year that I left, they transitioned to Division I. So the team that I was on the year prior, the next year they were a Division I team. So that school, that like literally midway through when I was transferring, they became Division I school. So I was a part of that Division I program for a little bit. So that's how I'm D1. So technically I'm a Division I athlete. So that I always just say it. You would do the same if you were in that position. So eat it. I'm a D1 athlete. Anyway, when, you know, going to be this Division I athlete and being this big, you know, man on campus, throwing the cardies, being a college athlete, being this guy, I had all the approval in the world from everyone because they all loved me. But when I say, oh, fitness coaching, it doesn't have the, you know, people, I had no success and nobody supported that. And I really craved that support from my parents, from the people around me. I wanted to say things to people and them to be like, yeah, wow, so I support you. And that's why I was like, I'm gonna do law school, because everyone said they would do that. And I remember, okay, here's where, okay, I had another fitness journey. So before, everything I did was athlete, right? And everything I did was to be the best athlete, right? It was like lifting to be the best athlete, film, you know, strength and conditioning, fitness, learning and reading, you know, literally reading college strength and conditioning manuals to take those workouts and give to my team, and learning about, you know, hypertrophy and fitness and power and all this stuff. Learning about how to strength program as a freaking 16-year-old who's got school, and I'm like learning film, and then I'm running workouts, and I'm doing all this stuff for this team, and it was crazy. And I remember now going back into my, you know, into school, switching my major to business. Now I was kind of on my own, so not being an athlete anymore kind of got to me, right? So what happened was I started working as a paralegal in the summer for my dad's anesthesiologist. His partner at work was anesthesiologist. Her husband was a lawyer. He owned a law firm. And I started working at this guy's law firm. So I technically had a 9 to 5. And now I wasn't an athlete. I was working a 9 to 5. Literally, I was working a 9 to 5 as an athlete. Had a couple random fitness clients. Like I was like, oh yeah, what, like randomly, almost like not even doing a good job with them. And, you know, as an athlete, you know, old athlete, I started like, I wasn't like moving as much. I really hadn't like, wasn't like tracking my food or anything. And I put on a ton of freaking weight. So I was literally working 9 to 5, and I put on 60 pounds. So I literally got fat. And here's where I get my passion for helping other people lose weight. Because when I talk about losing weight, when I talk about getting in shape and fitness being the ripple effect in your life and help you be the best version of yourself, this period of my life is where I developed my true love for fitness and helping people be the best version of themselves in life. Because athlete wise, you know, helping athletes, I had some people say like, wow, like you really helped me out, like being with you like all this time, like, you know, you really helped me and stuff. But I'll get to why it was so important to me. So I put on 61 pounds, and I remember as I would put on weight, I would ignore it. I would look in the mirror, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm bulking, right? Because I was still working out, like I was still lifting, but my nutrition was out of whack. My lifestyle was not matching. Like, you know, here's the thing. When I was a Division I athlete, I was always 6-pack shredded, always like shredded to the bone, ripped, in shape, big. And when I wasn't an athlete anymore, it started to catch up to me. So I remember that I put on 61 pounds of fat, and I started literally my clothes. I was like wearing suits and stuff every day. So my suit pants stopped fitting. I had to get new clothes. I literally remember like I would get so pissed off. And here's actually, you know, a crazy like trigger moment that I had. I literally remember like getting really upset because none of my clothes were fitting anymore. And I literally remember, because I have, you know, just a little, my doctors, like, I've always told my whole life I'm like ADD, OCD. Like, they told me my whole life I have all these freaking illnesses. Whether that's true or not, I choose not to believe it, so I just ignore it. But I do remember, like, I do have like some weird OCD, like crazy tendencies. And I always remember, like, this is just a weird story, I guess. Back in the day, I always used to be like crazy OCD about like the way my clothes fit and like clothes. I still am kind of like this way about like the way my like office is set up. I spent like 30 minutes before this video like making everything super perfect. So there's like some context. But when I was younger, I remember I would always never know what to freaking wear. And like I'm super big on like, I love like men's fashion, and I would always like love wearing I would wear tuxedos to preschool. I would wear all these nice clothes, and I would change my name a bunch of times because I just wanted to be a different name. So there's something cool. But I also remember too, I would always never know what to wear. And when I would go out to play in the snow, I remember that other people all the other kids would go out to play, and my mom would sit there and dress me for an hour because it all had to be exactly perfect. And I remember I'd go out for 5 minutes and everyone would be done. I'd come in and I would get all my stuff off again. And I never got to play with anybody else because my clothes had to be perfect. But I remember I always just never know what to wear in preschool and middle school. So back in preschool, I would always be crazy OCD about what I wanted to wear. And I was like, I need to wear this, this, this. And my mom would make me plan my outfits in advance. But I would plan them all in advance, and the next day I wake up and I'm I don't know what to wear. I freak out about what I need to wear. And to this day, I just like it now. I just try to wear my Watkins coaching stuff, and unless it is a nice event, I just try to wear the Watkins coaching because I like this. I like these polos. If I find something I like, I do the same, and I never have to worry about it again. Just wear the same thing. I'm kind of weird like that. So now, I remember literally being super angry all the time when I was younger because I was I don't know what to wear. This is a crazy. I remember one day my mom was literally, I was screaming, crying in the mornings before preschool because I was I don't know what to wear. I don't know what to wear. And I remember my mom was we gotta go, and she started dragging me out of my closet, out of walk-in closet when I was younger, and it was full to the brim of clothes. I loved it, and she was dragging me out with my feet, dude. And I remember holding on to the wall. I literally remember holding on to my door as a 5-year-old, screaming my face off, I don't know what to wear. My outfit's not perfect. And I literally remember that. And this was crazy as hell because fast forward to me as a college student, I had that same experience of being upset and angry about what I wanted to wear because nothing fit me, and I was overweight, and I hated how I looked, and I was stressing out, and it was literally a crazy, almost PTSD trigger flashback, and it was it was crazy for me to think 20 years later, you're still the freaking loser kid with no friends who can't figure out what he wants to wear, and that was crazy to me. And anyway, as I got fatter and fatter and fatter, I had a girlfriend at the time. I felt like she was not attracted to me anymore. I struggled when it came to intimacy with her. I struggled. No girls talked to me anymore because I was always this fit and shape guy. Girls did not speak to me anymore because I was overweight, 60 pounds overweight, and they're I don't like Riley anymore. And it really started to take a toll on me because I literally went from the champion, the best in the world, to this dude who had no direction in his life, was just working a 9 to 5, and was 60 pounds overweight. Think about that contrast. Think about that. Think about being me and being, Division I athlete. All the girls in the world want to be with you. You're partying up as a college athlete. You got all the success in the world. Everyone loves you. You're captain of the freaking team, the best player in your school's history, the man. And then all that's gone. You come home and now you're just working at some law firm. Your parents don't support the business you had. That business failed, and you're sitting there alone at a desk at a 9 to 5. You're 61 pounds overweight, and you don't like how your clothes fit, and you just feel like your girlfriend doesn't like you, and you hate yourself. Think about the contrast mentally that I was having. It was very difficult for me, and I considered dropping out of college. It's I don't want to do anything. I didn't want to do anything with my life because all I wanted to do was play in the NFL and be a strength coach, and my parents didn't want me to do that, and I just felt like I had no direction in my life. And I remember this was, the moment that I decided that I was, done being a fat ass. I went to vacation with the girlfriend I was with at the time, and we were out there on vacation. I remember I was just eating like shit the whole week, and I was eating out, going to these places, going to these restaurants, and I hated the way that I looked, and it pissed me off so bad. And I remember that I literally walked up to the mirror one day, and I looked at myself, and I just saw my gut hanging over, and I saw my waistband. I couldn't even see my waistband because my gut was hanging over. I had love handles, my stomach, no definition in any of my arms, no veins, no nothing, no abs, no nothing. The double chin. And I looked at myself after, hating the clothes, tucking my shirt in because I was trying to stretch my stomach because I don't want people to see my stomach. And I looked at myself, and I just was disgusted. I was you are a fucking shell of who you used to be. And at that specific moment, looking at myself, I decided it was fucking time to change, right? And what I did was I took the photo you probably see of me before, right, like a before photo. I took that photo and I made that my lock screen. And when I made that my lock screen, I decided I was going to get in the best shape of my freaking life. And from there, while working a 9-to-5 at that law firm, I lost 61 pounds of body fat in 5 months. And I got to like 9% body fat. I got freaking shredded. From the worst shape I'd ever been in my life to the best shape I'd ever been in my life. Still working my 9-to-5, my buddy Trey, who was a high school teammate the year that we won the state championship, he was on my team. My sophomore year, he was my teammate as well. And he reached out to me and saw my transformation because I was posting like my transformation. I was like, wow, I lost a ton of weight. And I wasn't even a fitness guy at this point. I was just like, you know, people knew I had done a little bit of fitness. They knew me as someone who was good at fitness, but like I posted my transformation. I was like, transformation. And everyone saw this, and my guy Trey saw it, and he was like, whoa. He's like, Riley, like, I'm kind of in a similar scenario. He was in college too at the time. And he's like, dude, like, I'm working too. Like, I'm working as like an internship, and I'm like working a ton of hours. And like, I saw that you're doing an internship and you're working a 9-to-5, and like, you lost a ton of weight. And like, I was like, he's like, Riley, I just like need your help. And he's like, I want you to coach me and help me. And I was like, okay. I was like, I don't really do like that anymore, but like, I don't know. I was like, I don't do that, man. Like, I don't work with people. And he's like, no, dude, like, I want to pay you. And he paid me $1,000. And he's like, no, dude, whatever it is, like, whatever you want. Like, how much is your program? Like 4 months or whatever? Because I was doing like 4-month programs at the time. Now it's 6. I was doing 4-month programs at the time. And I was like, yeah, the program I was doing was like 4 months. I was like, he's like, how long is your program? I was like, 4 months. Like, well, that's 4-month program. He's like, I'll pay $1,000. And I was like, whoa, what? And he literally cash handed to me $1,000. And I was like, what the F? And he was my first real fitness client, like weight loss fitness client guy. And what I did is the same thing I developed, right? Like, and here's the funny part, the CEO Shred system, like the system I've made for losing weight as a career guy, I made. And I made it because I wanted to lose weight. And like, when I look at myself, I needed a way to lose weight, because here's the thing. Going to Italy, traveling back in high school, being an athlete, being this guy that, you know, on the football team would love to go out with the guys and party and drink. I used all these things, right, and things that Trey wanted to do. And learning with Trey, I took the system that I used to get in amazing shape, and the system that I kind of refined with Trey. And when I did it in a 4-month program with Trey, I took everything and kind of just showed him like what to do, and he lost 42 pounds in 4 months. So I lost 61 pounds in 5 months. He lost 42 pounds in 4 months. And you can see Trey's testimonial on my page, how to help Trey lose 42 pounds body fat. You can see that. And you can see, like, it's pretty crazy. Like, when you listen to it, like, Trey is an amazing video. And I took those results from Trey. And here's the part where, like, I really, like, it was crazy. So after I got in amazing shape, like, everything in my life became amazing again. Like, I felt incredible. I felt like the man. Like, I loved it, you know. And I helped Trey do this, and he was the same way. He had the same way. He's like, I got my confidence back, dude. And this was crazy. Like, I will never forget the text he sent me. And, you know, I always put this. I can maybe put it on screen. He texted me, said, Riley, like I'm not gonna lie, you changed my life. Like, I have my old confidence back because of that. And hearing that, and just knowing the transformation that I had, and how I got my confidence back, and how I, you know, fell in love with working out again, and how Trey got his confidence back, and hearing the fact that I changed somebody's life just because of helping them with their fitness and the stuff that I already knew through all my years of working out and strength conditioning and being in exercise science a little bit. Like, the fact that I impacted somebody's life like that, that's what helped me fall in love with fitness again. It was like, just genuinely, I was like, oh my God, right? Like, you know, the fact that because of this, like, I felt, right, because I'd been a Christian, like, I'd been baptized, and everything in my life came together at this point, right? And this was like December, November that I got this text from Trey. And I remember at this time, I was at a really hard point in my life. because I had just gotten in great shape, lost all this weight. And I remember I just helped Trey. And at this point, I was with my girlfriend, I was with my parents living at home, and I was with, I was around people who were telling me law school. I was working a 9 to 5, and I had this crazy point in my life, and I was like, okay, I just changed a man's freaking life with fitness coaching. I switched my major from something I loved, exercise science, to business, going to go be a lawyer. And I was like, I had two paths in front of me. I was like, I could stay with this girl and just go to law school and, she'd be like a nurse or something, and I'd just like be a lawyer, and that would be it, and I would just like be in shape, and, I would be fit, but like, that's it. And I would just like be like a fit like lawyer or whatever. And I would like spend 6 years and I would just like be like a 9 to 5 lawyer guy forever. And I'd already understood what 9 to 5 looked like. And I was like, or I could go all in, back in business, go back to business, take the stuff that I had learned, all those skills that I had learned, doing the stuff that failed, some of that taking those models and systems, and I could really launch my one-to-one online fitness coaching business and help guys who are in my scenario do the exact same thing that I did and help Trey do, and take this system and help guys, improve their lives. And I could change people's lives. And when I thought back to like being baptized in God and all the stuff, and here's the cool part is when I pray, I always pray to God to help me become the man. So here's a cool thing. So when I pray to God, what I do when I pray is I always pray to God not to do anything for me. I don't believe God wins football games, makes money for you, or helps you with anything. Well, it helps you with things. But I pray to God to put me through the things I need to do to become the person capable of achieving the life I want. Right? Because God could give you things. You could give a man a fish and he could eat. But if I pray for God to put me through the things in order to become the person capable of creating the life and the things that I want, no matter what situation I'm in, if I've already went through the mental battles of becoming the person capable, then it doesn't matter, and I can create that. I've become the man who, no matter what situation, he can do that. And at this point in my life, I had gone through so much struggle. I had gone through so much work and hard work and stress and struggle and pain. And being at this point in my life, I had to make a choice. And God put me in the position to have to become that person. And what I did was I knew that I had two paths that I could take, and I had to make this choice. And I moved out. I moved up to college. And I broke up with my girlfriend. I switched my major back to exercise science, and I quit working at the law firm. That was in January. It's September now. I've helped at this point over 100 people in general, 30 career guys, like 30 career men I've helped at this point with the exact CEO Shred system. So I've helped, like, being an athlete from January to now. I've worked with like over 100 people, whether it's, giving them programs or writing them programs, or being like an athlete, or being a younger guy, or being a girl. I've worked with like 20 girls. So in total, people-wise, I've worked with 100 people since then. But with my refined CEO Shred system, and just recently, I've went to only helping guys with the CEO Shred system. Like, that is what I do, right? Because that's the people that I've found that I want to help and serve the most and I create the most impact with. Since then, literally, I went all in, and I worked and worked and worked that whole year, being in exercise science, being in that position, and I worked and I grinded and I did everything I could do, and it paid off. And I am sitting now in my own place. I'm going back to school in the fall, but I've helped all these people. And I also got my, personal trainer certification. So I got my CPT through NCSA. I got my personal trainer certification. Went all into my business, back in exercise science. I'm going to get my degree in exercise science, be a certified personal trainer, be a certified strength conditioner, get all my certifications, and be in school for this to finish my degree out with the thing that I want to do. And at this point, using the same system that me, Trey, all these other guys have, I've got to the point now where I know, when I graduate, I'm going to be a full-time online fitness coach. And it's been a long journey, and it's been a freaking ride. It's been hard. Literally building this business has been the hardest thing, but also the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my whole entire life. But it's, again, when I pray to God, it's helped me become the person capable of creating the life I want. Because I know you can drop me anywhere in the world, and I'll go find men who are working long hours, who are struggling with what to eat, what to do in the gym. I'll find those men and I'll serve those men. And that's where I am right now. And that's what's led me to having the program I have, helping the men that I want to help and being who I want to be. I'm Coach frickin' Riles, the online fitness coach for career-driven men who helps career-driven guys lose 20 to 50 pounds within 180 days, do the same thing I did. And I do it with my system that helps you do it in 60 minutes a week with still eating food you actually like. So you can go out to restaurants, you can go on vacation, you can actually enjoy your life, and you can take the system, take it with you after the program, and make it a one-time investment so you can actually learn what you need to do to be successful for the rest of your life. So you can actually implement this into your life as opposed to being some program that you fall off on. Because my goal is to help men fix it for good. I want to help guys get in shape and stay in shape, right? And I do it with my CEO Shred system. It's a system, right? It's not a program. I do a coaching program, but I implement a system into your life, because a lot of times people are like, oh, I want to do this program. But with a system, it's like, what systems can I implement to make sure that I never miss, to make sure I never fail, I never get overweight again? And that's why I have a system. I have the system in place, and it works like magic. And it's helped tons of guys. I have so much freaking social proof, and I have so much belief in my soul that I'm on this freaking earth to do this, to help these men, help guys get in the best shape of their life and actually be better for themselves, for their families, for their careers, to show up for themselves and just be the version of themselves. Because when I freaking help these guys, I think back to me, sitting in that freaking office, being 60 pounds overweight, hating the way that I look, hating my love handles, hating my girlfriend, like feeling like my girlfriend wasn't attracted to me. I think of me, and that's the guy I want to help. And that's why I'm so passionate to help this guy, because I was that guy. And when I think of the guys, I think of Trey. And I think of me, the other version of me, who's sitting in that office somewhere, hating who he is, hating the fact that he never got to help and never got to serve men through his skills and abilities. And that's where I am right now. I'm exactly who I want to be. And I'm the guy that helps other people. Like, I help people. I get to actually use this, do this shit, and help people with fitness and be better. And it's been amazing, right? And that's kind of my story of how I am now. And, I'm still in school. I'm still in exercise physiology major. I graduate in a few semesters. And I got my own apartment now. And I'm in my own place to film content, make videos, and just keep helping and serving and build my client base. We have 30 active clients right now, but in total, I've worked with over 100. And all my clients right now are career-driven guys who are on the CEO Shred program. And yeah, if you're a career-driven guy and this story, you relate to my story, and you'd like me to work with you one-on-one, and you'd like to maybe find more about what we do, and you feel like I could help you, I'd love to chat with you. You can book in, for a free consult below. I'll walk you through my coaching program and see if it's something that you feel like could help you. If it is, we'll get you rocking and rolling, and we'll help you get the results just like I did, just like Trey did, just like all the other guys on my channel that you could probably see in Results by Riles. And I'll help you out, right? I really appreciate you watching the video. This has just been my life story, and it's raw, it's real, it's unfiltered. And it's been a long journey, and hopefully this helps you understand me a little bit more, maybe why I'm so freaking passionate sometimes. And I'm just a fired up, passionate dude who I have a freaking passion for helping guys be better. That's why I love career-driven guys. You can take somebody who's just a dim light bulb, and like Trey said in the Results by Riles video, get the freaking light back in your life, and just be an animal, man, and just be the best. And I just want to help guys be the best because I know I can help and touch and serve the world. If I can touch the world and serve the world, I will help. I'll absolutely serve myself, right? Like I'm not going to lie here. Like I run a business, right? But I know if I focus on serving and helping, God will fulfill my own needs. And that's kind of where I'm at. And that's been my life. So I appreciate it. And if you're a encouragement guy and you're looking to get in shape in the next 180 days, you can book in for a free call. We'll chat it up and I'll see if I can help you out. Okay, but that's been the video. I really appreciate it. Have an awesome day. I'm rooting for you.